Hey nerds, we are talking about Star Trek Picard, episode 306, The Bounty. We're going to review the episode and then get into a spoiler breakdown of the episode, starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
I'm David.
And I'm Condra.
Hey, so the spoiler-free logline for this episode is: now on the run, Picard and the skeleton crew of the U.S.S. Titan must break into Starfleet's most top-secret facility to expose a plot that could destroy the Federation. Picard must turn to the only soul in the galaxy who can help, an old friend. This is written by Christopher Monfette and directed by Dan Liu, who directed the last episode. So, David, what do you think of this episode?
Yeah, this season is setting the bar high and higher in every episode, but I love this episode a lot because there's so many surprises. It keeps you on the edge of your seat saying, what's going to happen next? But it doesn't distract the whole story and the main point of the plot, which is what I appreciate about it. But I really love the surprises, which makes me feel like nostalgic of watching TNG when I was a kid, so I loved it.
Awesome. Contra, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The storyline this season is so much better than last season. Anything that goes without saying.
It's hard to get worse, but
each episode I think they just keep setting the bar higher and higher. And at this point, I'm almost like, gosh, does this really have to be the last season? But better to go out on a really high note. And like David said, this episode just really had me. I was watching it hunched up like this, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? And just the twists and the turns that they take. And it really is just so satisfying to see the crew from TNG come together and see, of course, we haven't seen their lives for the last few decades, but just to see how everybody has changed and grown and moved on from then has been, I love this episode. So it's like the highest rating we have. I forget what that is right now, but I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I like the episode as well. Didn't give it the highest rating. I gave last week the highest rating just because it made me cry so many times. I don't know if you probably haven't watched the review that I posted. Every time I watch that episode, I cry, even up till 15 minutes before I recorded the review last time. This goes down a little bit for me because it's not as highly emotional, even though we do get, as the logline suggests, a old friend that we've been anticipating for a while. Really enjoyed seeing actually more than one, but again, a little bit of a spoiler. But yeah, it was good. I think I would notch it down just a little bit from my very super high rating from last week, but still, Picard's doing an excellent job here. Patrick Stewart is doing an excellent job here. If you saw last week, there was a connection of the A and B plots that have been going on since the beginning. We saw Worf connect with the captain and also the admiral at the end of the last episode. So you of course see some of that interaction in this episode. I don't think that's much of a spoiler, seeing as how you got that in the last episode. So all that stuff is great. There's some interactions with Worf and Riker, which, I mean, Riker, whenever he's with almost anyone, he's funny. So that's great as well. So yeah.
This whole episode, though, I felt like they found a little bit more comedy here in reunions. That was really, it was sweet. I think especially because the last, 2 or 3 episodes have just been really emotional and gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
In a sad way. Like, I think this was emotional and a whole family's back together again, kind of happy.
Yeah, for the most part, it's happy. The way that it ends is a little bit of gut punching. But yeah, it was a good episode. So, Contra, you say you'd rate it our highest, which is like theater rental.
I think that's like nostalgia, like David said. It's just like everybody is back, right? And I think that for me, I think you see the emotions they run through with everybody reconnecting and the long absences. They also have this uncertainty about their friendships. And so I think that is a huge part of it for me. It's like, okay, the whole gang is back together again. This is really gonna, with some new players, of course. It's also cool to really see them with their kids, the next generation.
Right.
It's a really exciting part of it as well. So I like that the nostalgia more so than the action in this episode.
Yeah, as you said, their personalities have changed a little bit and their priorities are not necessarily each other because they have other responsibilities outside of the old crew. So yeah. All right, so you give it a 10 or theater rental. Would you give this episode, David?
Give it a 10 as well, or between 9.5 to 10, because there were some parts I'm thinking like, if it's because the ending, they cut it right there. I'm like, oh, come on, dude, show more. So, but now I have to wait for the next episode to show up to find out what happens next. Yeah. So again, as I mentioned before, it's nostalgia. When TNG had these 2-parter or 4-parter or 5-parter, they always left it like the edge of your seat right there, and then they cut it off right the moment you're thinking, come on now, let's show it now already. So I miss that feeling. So like I said before, it's a nostalgia feeling from this episode. So I give it between 9.5 to a 10.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you were talking, and I didn't get to some of the negative issues that I have with this episode, and I'll probably talk about them when we actually get to the spoiler breakdown. But I do have, beyond it not being emotionally gut-wrenching like the last episode, there are a couple logical things that I have some issues with, so I still rate it very highly. I give it an 8, which is a road trip, so it still would go to the theater to watch it, but I wouldn't rent out a theater to show it to everyone. So it's still highly rated for me. I'm not dropping the corner or entire theater to show everyone else, because I do have, like I said, I have a couple issues with it that we can talk about when we get into the spoiler breakdown. All right, so I think we should get into it. If you're enjoying the conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out, makes the algorithm happy, and helps other people find our content. So thanks for that. Spoilers ahead. All right, so we start actually with a teaser at the beginning with Vadic on her ship. They're trying to find the Titan, and I'm glad to see Vadic back. She was very much missed over the last couple episodes, and she was in the last episode. Was she in the episode before that? I don't remember. She was at the very end when Riker threw the asteroid at her, but even in that episode, she wasn't in that much.
Yeah.
So it was great to see Vadic back. Now, there's no ambiguity. I think you guys were going back and forth about whether or not she was a changeling, but we obviously find out from this episode that she is a changeling. Just from this speech at the beginning about our brethren having to have false forms, and then we actually see her at the very end change. So she is a changeling. I guess she's just a different kind of changeling where cutting off something actually hurts because they have more substance to them than they did before this new version of changelings. So her cutting off the arm, even though it looked weird, it looked like it was actually paining her. Maybe it's just the way that they all are now. But
we've learned. I'm curious to see just in general, what brought about that change, this evolution again. Of the changelings, because they are so different from what we're used to, and I almost want to say maybe a little bit fragile because of it. Maybe we don't know that yet, but they're definitely making more art. They're not just it's not just that the exterior looks human, it's the interior.
Yeah. Which you're right. That does give them a little bit more fragility, because if someone were to shoot Odo or throw and I think there was an episode where someone tried to throw a mace at him and he just made himself hollow in the middle, went through him. I don't think they could do that. Not fast enough. No, I don't think they'd be able to do it as fast as he would. So there are some trade-offs. They are able to more closely mimic, but they can't as quickly transform, it looks like. She also, again, shows her ruthlessness here. This person on one of her underlings mentions we haven't found him, and it's 72 hours until Frontier Day, and she has them executed. Which that goes, apparently, the whole no changeling has harmed another thing is also not a thing for this terrorist sect. They harm each other all the time.
Because they communicate by
almost clicking.
There's difference. I wonder if the underling, if all of them are changelings, or maybe different, because they also seem deformed.
I think they are changelings. I think that because if you remember in the last episode, that's what they did as well. So they clicked the two that were posing as security officers. They were doing the clicking as well when they were looking for Jack. So I think that they are. Right. Because you're right, in DS9, the way that they communicated, they found language, a far inferior way of communicating than actually linking together. So, but it looks like this version of them, where this offshoot has its own language as well. So this opening teaser was interesting. I don't understand, now that we know that she's a changeling, I don't understand her need to smoke, because it's a cool affect, but after she kills the underling, she sits down in the seat and lights up a cigar. So that was, the opening was interesting. We don't see her again until the end, and hopefully we see her a lot more in the next episode. If you've been following our reviews, we mentioned in the past that we've got 6 episodes. We haven't received any of the other episodes yet. I assume that they will send them sometime this week. If they do, if not, we'll be watching them same days that you guys do, because we have no idea what's going to happen after this episode. As of the recording of this, might change before the end of the week. So anyway, after the cold open, the teaser, we get Act 1. We get an answer to what's happening with Jack. This is why this is degraded a little for me. I guess it's a fine answer, the aromatic syndrome, but we saw his eyes turning red. And sometimes when people have hallucinations, they pull you into the hallucination when they're doing the storytelling, so you can get inside the mind of the person. But I'm not sure why they showed us his eyes turning red. I feel like there's another shoe to drop here, and I can't say what the other shoe is, because like I said, we haven't seen any of the other episodes. If there isn't another shoe to drop, I think this is bad storytelling. I feel like there should be something else going on here besides him having his father's syndrome. I don't know how you guys felt about this development.
I would say that they need to really, I hope that the next episode will explain his syndrome compared to Picard's, because hence the eyes turning red. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that didn't happen with Picard. What's wrong with him?
All of that could have been in his head. The other thing is that it seems that if he has the same thing as Picard, he has a much earlier onset of the disease than Picard did, because it didn't affect Picard until he was well into his 90s. So that's another thing that seems to be weird. And also it's incongruous with what we actually heard him hearing in his head, the find me thing. That seemed to mean something in the last couple episodes. So he doesn't have the hallucinations because she says in this scene that she gave him some medication and also an inhibitor to stop it. But I don't know. I hope there's another shoe to drop here, because it seems like a weird explanation for what we actually saw. And there was this door that we kept seeing.
Connect the branches. Find
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you felt.
I also thought it was strange that his mother, who's a physician, hadn't
tested him for this.
just given him. She knew who his father was.
Yeah,
presumably was a weird condition.
Exactly.
Right?
She diagnosed him in the last episode of TNG.
It's the kind of defect that would only show up on a level 4 neurographic scan. It could cause you to be susceptible to several kinds of neurological disorders, including neuromotic syndrome.
So that would be the first thing I would check, and it could be something that maybe you're not able to detect until maturity.
Yeah.
But still, so that was my first thought. But I also got the sense that it didn't there must be that there's something else going.
That's not the
and
whole
maybe
story.
That's what it looks like on a scan.
Yeah.
But it's not look the same on a scan. Could be something entirely. So yeah.
I can see this being controversial a lot because a lot of people have been suggesting that maybe he's a changeling. He doesn't know that he's a changeling because the voice keeps saying, "Come back to me, come back to me." The vines seem to be a very specific kind of choice. It's not like he's saying all kinds of different hallucinations. He's seeing a very specific hallucination over and over again. The red vines tripping over people, the door opening, and a woman saying, "Find me." Sometimes it sounds like his mother. Sometimes it sounds like Vatic when I hear the person saying, "Find me," but it's definitely a woman saying, "Find me." So I don't know. I might be disappointed by this development because some people thought that he was a secret changeling, and he still might be. I don't know. Like a changeling who lost his memory, and maybe I don't know. That would suck that he was replaced because we saw what the other changeling did with his replacement. He killed him. So it sucked to find out that Picard had a son and that he's been dead for a while and he was replaced by this changeling. But I don't know. Or maybe he's alive and maybe he's connected to him in some way. I don't know, through space. We've seen in previous episodes of Discovery that the Vulcans could communicate through subspace with Sarah could communicate with Michael. So I don't know. And this could be the whole explanation. In which case it's anticlimactic because they dragged it on for 3 episodes. So
They did.
I don't know. So he goes to console Jack, who's drinking himself to death. Bar.
Not really, because it's not real alcohol. So
Oh yeah, he's in the holodeck, so I guess it's not real alcohol. I guess he's just feeling.
which drink himself to death.
Yeah, I guess he's just feeling of the synthahol, which I guess gives you a buzz but doesn't make you intoxicated from previous episodes of TNG. So yeah, he goes there to console him. Jack he's trying to accept what's happening to him. He's also being a dick to his father and saying, "It's ironic that my mother kept me away from you to keep me from the wake of the collateral damage that is Jean-Luc Picard, and I might have been screwed before I was born." And that's how this scene. I don't remember anything else very pertinent from the scene.
But I also see their relationship growing because I didn't sense any bitterness from Picard. Is it's fair, right?
Yeah.
You got a genetic disease from, and he senses lost, but he also tells Jack that he's had it for decades.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right, so it's possible to be okay.
Yeah.
With it and let's not really dwell on it. But
he's had it for decades, but just like we were talking about in the previous scene, he had it for decades and he didn't know about it until he was in his 50s. Because I think when TNG ended, he was 50 something in canon, so he didn't know about it until his 50s. So there were no signs of anything. And again, his hallucinations were more varied, and also his hallucinations weren't really hallucinations; they were Q messing with him. So don't know if it is the disease. He has a more advanced stage of it, or a very different variation of it. So maybe he does have something to worry about because Jack is only 23. So yeah, I think after the scene, after he mentions being cursed before he was born, then we get the reunion with Raffi and Worf and the humor here with Riker. I forget what Worf says. He says something about being Zen or something like that in Riker.
No, he says that he's being a pacifist, waiting for the tell.
He says that later. He says something about meditation or something like that, and Riker says, "Seriously?" And he said, and Worf is like, "Yes, because I just said it." So sometimes he says funny things too, just because he's deadpanning his delivery. Yeah, and Crusher hugs him, and Riker reminds her that he's not a hugger. He doesn't object, and there's this awkwardness between Raffi and Seven for some reason. I don't understand that. I don't think they broke up again. Did they? Sorry.
It seems they did break up.
They did, because if you remember, they broke up in season 2. They got back together at the end of season 2, and then this season 1, it doesn't really explain what's going on. Maybe I did say that I lost girl.
She did
again.
say that in the first episode, but immediately after that, we found out that she was undercover. So I assumed everything she said was a lie there, but maybe this part wasn't a lie.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe because they have teased up a long time, because Seven is now officially a Starfleet officer now, and they're going on different ships and going 2 different missions rather.
All these, this is neither here nor there, but all these different uniforms are also wigging me out. I don't understand what's going on here. Is there an off-duty uniform and an active-duty uniform? Because Riker has the same kind of uniform that Raffi shows up with here, but Seven is the same rank as Raffi, and she's wearing this completely different uniform with the pips around the neck like the TNG era, but Raffi and Riker have the pips vertical, and there's an open jacket. I guess we're supposed to, I don't know, maybe they'll have
Not everybody the new uniform upgrade the same, right?
Maybe. We have seen that in Discovery where they have 2 different uniforms on screen at the same time. And then Picard is the retired admiral, gets to wear whatever he wants, basically, with a small Starfleet insignia brooch on this thing. Anyway, we've had sartorial talk in the past. I'm just a slight detour. Anyway, so then they do the ready room debrief. This is I guess very reminiscent of TNG. I think in like newer Trek they do these ready room briefs all the time, but they're always standing up. Like it's the first time in a while that I've seen the ready room brief and they're sitting down. I don't know if this is just getting you back and familiar with the way that the TNG group did it, or just all these people are like in their 60s and 70s and they need to sit down because it's a long scene, and having them all stand up for this scene is unnecessary. So it's just funny that they're presenting here. Although Michael Dorn is I think 70, he's standing up to do the presentation, but whatever. Like I said, it's very TNG, the presentation here, the ready room presentation. They go through the AI system, which they don't know what it is right now. And they also talk about they basically debrief everything we learned in the previous couple episodes. They obviously try to steal something, and the poor weapon was just a cover. So that's what they go over, and they make a plan to go to Daystrom Station, which is a Section 31 facility, which we find out in this episode because we didn't know that before. So I don't know. Like when I watched this the first time, and I was like, are they going to do another control thing? Like they did control in season 2 of Discovery, but no, we have a completely different AI here in this version. Yeah. Then they're in the transporter room, and there's more awkwardness between Rafi and Seven.
Rafi, yeah.
And then Worf makes another joke. It's not even a joke. He just says that.
Oh, he starts to, because he thinks Seven is going, right? And he starts to I guess, to tell them, oh, I fought in battle with many
lovers before.
And Seven's like, oh, and he was about to tell a lie.
Yeah, I was practicing subterfuge.
Subterfuge. Yeah.
It's like, good. I was practicing subterfuge. It's like, yeah, I'm not going. So yeah, they give
Worf's like, we don't need extra drama on this already, like, 10th mission.
So yeah, this is where you were talking about, David, when Riker says we're going to die. When Worf says that I have of late opt for pacifism over combat. He says we're going to die. So...
But in the previous episode, Worf, like, kills, what? I don't know, 3 or 4 people. So I guess pacifism is relative?
It's relative, I guess. Like, he says that's my go-to. I'm pacifist and less push to it. Although, I feel like he's not pushed very hard. I don't know. There were definitely some parts in the last couple episodes where he could have fought and he did not.
Okay.
So he was still, where the previous Worf would have been far more, like, active. And, like, if you remember previous episodes of TNG, it was always like, we should raise the shields, we should fire.
Yeah.
We should go to red alert. He's always like, always to a 10, always to a 10. It's almost like Shaxx on Lower Decks, and he wants to jet the warp core all the time. It's like always to a 10. I guess if you're security, you're always heightened. So he's been quieter, but he uses violence when he needs to, I think. I think you definitely see a change in him. Yeah. So the security system goes off, and then they find 2 ships show up to the Daystrom Station, and they have to bug out basically and leave them there. At this point, they don't know how they found them. At the beginning of the episode,
dropping transport like signals everywhere. So.
Yeah, it was the conversation that the underling was having with Vadic at the beginning of the episode. They've been dropping transponders and then just like warping erratically to try to mask where they were going, but they were still found here. And at this point, they don't know how they were caught. So they were left to their own devices inside of the Section 31 facility. We see a bunch of Easter eggs here. I think we see the Genesis device at some point here. Yeah,
Genesis 2 is what they call it.
So the Genesis device, we see a Tribble that again still doesn't like.
I saw that and I was like, who the hell thought it would be a good idea to genetically modify a Tribble?
It was very
like a modified version. As if like the cute ones are terrible, right? Even though they were cute and harmless on their own, but this one had like, I don't know, many rows of teeth and like I'm like, who thought this was a great idea? But
Section 31. Those are the people who also. The other thing that I forgot to mention in that briefing is that Worf mentions the virus that they create that probably radicalized these people in the first place. Like they gave them the antidote, but they also created a virus that could have killed their entire population. So yeah, I'm sure they want revenge. It's interesting because what we learned from the DS9 era is that they usually have harmony when you would think that Odo integrating into them would give them harmony, like have them forgive and forget, but I guess a faction broke off and weren't so easy to forget.
So speaking of that virus, so when like Worf said it on the show, I was like, well, I wonder if it's the virus that maybe caused some of them to change.
Maybe.
Right? The plan was to kill them out, but that's not, especially with a species that they wouldn't have had a lot of knowledge about. So
yeah.
I know it was like an errant thought, like, oh, I wonder if that's some of them changed.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah.
There's a skeleton of James T. Kirk here. I'm not even sure what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, there's a skeleton of James T. Kirk, and then they also show the slideshow of the other ships, like the Klingon Warboard on Star Trek 3, there was 1701A Enterprise, the Voyager, and unfortunately, we don't see Enterprise D and E, obviously, because they were destroyed. So, and then that was a slideshow when Seven was talking to Jack.
Yeah, that was later in the episode when they get to the museum. When they get to the Starfleet museum. But yeah, it's basically a Star Trek museum. This is still on the station where Moriarty shows up, and they don't know what the heck is going on. And that's just the end of Act 1 when Moriarty shows up. So they go to the Fleet Museum, and that's when they see all the ships that you're talking about.
And also Geordi.
And Geordi, yes. And his other daughter, who's actually LeVar Burton's real daughter. Mika Burton is playing his real daughter, the one in Operations Yellow. So he also he doesn't really threaten. Again, Geordi's wearing a third different uniform, by the way. So he doesn't really threaten him. he does tell him to power down all systems because I think he knows that he's being chased. And so, yeah, he's very cold until he isn't. He hugs Beverly, and he is also very reluctant to help them because he knows that I think he believes everything that they're saying about a changeling infiltration, but he also says, okay, if they want to retaliate, they're going to come after my family. And I feel like it's a fairly reasonable thing to think or to feel like I got to protect my family. So,
and I get it because he's also been trying to discourage Starfleet from having every ship show up there, which you would think you wouldn't even have to make that argument, right? Like, why would you want all of your entire fleet in one place?
There are things that he said that actually in this conversation with Picard that is like obvious that the changelings orchestrated it. Having the entire fleet there, but he's like, having the entire fleet, it makes no sense because it's just a giant target. Also, connecting all the ships. Apparently, he was like, he sent several memos saying this is a bad idea, connecting all the ships is a bad idea, and they overruled them. So that's obviously the changelings orchestrating as higher up admirals, like they're pretending to be admirals and they're making these decisions within Starfleet because it makes the fleet vulnerable in two different ways that Geordi has said that they shouldn't do, and he's been ignored. So we know he's not a changeling because of these two things that he mentions here. But yeah, but I also understand his reluctance, right? Because just like Ro, he's been trying to talk to higher ups and getting walls, so he has to like ring fence his family and try to protect his family. What did you make of the Moriarty thing here and the reveal of not really Data, but like the combination of Data, lore, and they also mentioned Lal because if you remember the episode when Lal broke down, Data said that he uploaded her into his brain. So Lal is part of his brain as well.
When I saw, when I was like at that point, I was thinking, what is this AI program they're talking about in there? Because we had no idea what it is. And then at first when I saw Moriarty, I was thinking, wait a minute, don't tell me Moriarty is the AI they're talking about. But it turns out that Moriarty was just a part of some sophisticated security system.
Yeah,
so
it seemed to be all in Data's head. Like Moriarty was always a creation of Data. It would have been weird for the actual Moriarty to show up, even though he showed up in 2 episodes of TNG. But he started at first as a creation in Data's head. So I guess and also Riker, like he explains when they get to the chamber that Data used to draw crows. So that's the first thing that they saw was a crow. And
when I saw the crow, I was like Data, like how did they not? Because my first thought was that they didn't actually destroy Data because we saw that happen in season 1. Like they used him to create the system, and in a sense they did. Yeah. But it was more than just Data. It's amalgamation.
Data died twice now, but this is the Data that he uploaded to B4. Like the part of him that he uploaded to B4 that still exists, and then B4 is in there, and Lull, and also Lore. I thought Lore was disassembled at the Daystrom Institute. I didn't know he was with Sung, so I don't know how he got Lore's information. Anyway.
Well, we had to think about because when we last saw Lord J, when they deactivated him, we never saw what did Starfleet do to his body. We saw what happened to B4, but we never officially saw what they do to Lore's body. That's the thing. So I'm thinking that what we've seen in the episode could be Lore's full body, but being into a bone-like structure like the Sung says, and then mixed with Data and everything, which the Data from Death uploaded to B4, not that was also shown in Picard season 1, but yeah, there's a long question that I know, like how this body was made, because this is like another golem, basically, but more for all 4 of the Data creation. Proto-Centaurs, which is Data, Lal, B4, and Lore all mixed together. So I don't know what to make of this one. 4 beings?
I don't know. It seems to be a new body. Because if it was Lore's body, he would still be in that youngish body. It's like a body very similar to the one that Sung gave Picard. So you can see it has like a natural skin tone and everything, and it's aged, but apparently didn't finish his work because the goal was to integrate all of their personalities into one, and before he died that he didn't achieve that, so it's still several personalities fighting for the body. So that's where we leave things at the Daystrom Institute, and then we're back on the ship at the museum, and then this is the scene that you were talking about, David, where Seven and Jack are just looking at the old ships and they're seeing the NCC, but they also see the Defiant and they see the Voyager as well, and she mentions the Voyager, and that's where her family used to be, and he sees the Bounty, and he starts to get ideas in his head about the Bounty, roguish ideas about the Bounty. They also mentioned what was the movie when they went back in time with that?
Star Trek
Voyage Home. It's the
Voyage Home. Star Trek 3 was when they got the Warlord to get Spock. Star Trek 4 Voyage Home is the one that go back in time.
So we get the explanation from Sung after that, and then more Geordi saying that he can't help. After that, they start to cloak, and then we find out that Jack, with the help of the Ford girls, stole the cloaking device, and it's not integrating well.
I thought it was funny how Geordi, like, he caught that Sydney was in
but
on
he didn't
it, but didn't see like that, like the younger daughter had to help,
exactly,
because she would know and have
He
access
said
to everything.
he said Sydney, but she definitely would have had to help. Like I feel like he just has this. He starts off because she was the more stubborn daughter, like thinking that she's the one who did. To be like, yeah, she definitely had to help. She had to give them access to the ship in the first place.
Kids always get blamed.
Yeah, I don't know. Is she the older one or is she the younger one?
I'm assuming. I don't know.
I think Sue is the older one, the real daughter of Burden. I think her real daughter is the older one, while Sydney is the younger one.
So like one of the things that was mentioned is that the names here are the same names from the All the Good Things episode, and he had a son too.
What about the little ones? Brett, Alandra, and
Sydney.
Sydney.
So we'll see if in this timeline he has a son as well. So Sydney Alondra is Mika, who Mika Burton is playing. So yeah, he helps out with the cloaking device. He also says, "Stay away from my daughter" when he goes in there with Jack. Just a couple of days with him, and she is stealing stuff. So I can understand why he's like, "Stay away from my daughter." Yeah. And then they fight off people here. The Dacia mission, they fight off some people. Or sorry, Riker goes to fight off people. So so Worf, Rafi, and whatever
Data.
this Gollum is, this amalgamation of androids can escape. And then at the end of the episode is where we see, well, Jack comes in and says, "Maybe got some wisdom from you as well, and not just a disease." But after that is where we see Riker being tortured.
Yeah.
And I skipped a scene. This episode is actually pretty long. Before we see Riker being tortured, we see them talking to the Gollum-ish thing, amalgamation thing. I forgot about that scene. So they
like, I don't know, I want to say crucial, but yeah, the confusion, like one, the risk they're taking in bringing and reviving this Gollum, right? They don't know what version of Soon's creation they're going to get, but then realization that the thing that was stolen from the Institute
was Picard's body.
Was like his human body, and you're like, how is that? Like, not at all, but I think anybody expected it to be, right? Because it's not a weapon. Like, what is the value in taking his body?
Why was Section 31 keeping it?
Why were they keeping it? And why did the changeling, why did they steal it?
Yeah.
Well, Section 1, from we've seen some movies there, Section 1 is more like off the books kind of things. And from the looks of it, they take in that Starfleet should not know about.
Yeah, what was wrong? But what is it about, like Picard's original human body that they wanted to do with? They were obviously doing something nefarious, or they wanted to keep it for some sort of reason. So I don't know. Yeah, during this conversation, this is where they thought that he was broken, because he kept saying Jean-Luc Picard, and they asked what they stole, and then he actually even though this body looks more like a human, it has projectors in the eyes, which they did not have. And we see the remains here. So yeah, that's a mystery that again none of us know because we don't have the episodes after this. Oh, and Lore shows up here very menacingly. It's a very good job from Brett Spiner. He switches between B4, Lore, and Dated. You always knew that he was doing different performances, but you can actually see them a second between each other.
It was startling because you could see like his face change. Like I think the way he moved his face changed between Data and Lore
and
B4. Yeah, and that's really just impressive to watch.
Yeah, back in TNG, he can do it like off camera or these multi-angle ones where you play different characters with different faces stretched. This one, Brett Spiner, I give him credit for playing those 3 different androids in one person.
Yeah, scenes. So if he had to flip back and forth, I assume of course he had to do it when he was doing it on the show, but like he probably had some more time to prepare and like, it's like, okay, I'm not playing this person, but now he had to play the same different people in the course of like 3 minutes, the same body. It's a good acting exercise, I'm sure. So this is again at the end of the episode where we actually see that Vadic is changeling, because she changes here from the security officer and kills the other 2 people who actually were human. And we fly off, and he says, "I'm not going to betray my friends after 35 years of service." He said, "No, I'm not. I don't think you're going to betray them. I would think you'll betray them for." And then we see Deanna.
Deanna.
Yeah. So and that's the end of the episode. Like I said, a lot happens in this episode, and there's a lot of Easter eggs that we didn't even talk about, especially the Dacia Institute. But yeah, it was a good episode. It was a really good episode. It just raised a lot of questions. I have, besides the Jack thing and the illness, I do have some questions about whether or not it was wise to bring back Data yet another time, because as Picard says, this is hard for me. He died 2 times. Like, you can't use his death as like a story beat and try to get us to feel something and then keep bringing him back. Yeah. So that's the other thing that kind of reduced this episode a little bit for me. If the personalities integrate and Brett Spiner gets to play yet another person, I'll be fine with that, because Data really needs to be dead at a certain point. We can't keep killing.
But I think that's what you're going to see, right? Is that it won't just be, it will be this, or maybe if they are able to fully integrate, it'll be a brand new personality.
Yeah, which I'm sure was, a great treat for Brett Spiner to play. He's been playing the same character over and over again, but not really. He's got to play many different Soongs over the last 30-something years. Many different Soongs. So, yeah. All right, any other thoughts before we wrap up?
I just want to see the next episode already, because since the last scene we're seeing together reuniting with Data, it's like bring nostalgia and everything. But it's sad that Riker and Dan and Troy are in another situation. But I was thinking in my head is the kid. I hope they didn't kidnap the kid either. So,
yeah, we didn't
we'll
see Castro case, but yeah, there's in the trailer we see all of them around a ready room table. So eventually they'll all be together at some point. But we shall see. Definitely interested to hear what you guys think. Comment down below, like, share, and subscribe, and check out our last review or one of our reviews of The Mandalorian. All right, talk to you. Bye.